Hey everyone, in today's video we're going to be talking about replacing the trigger and its parts and including the trigger box in a WE M4 open bolt. Okay, so if you're in the market to upgrade your trigger box, this will be a good video for you guys. Whether you are upgrading your trigger box and its components to an Re-asembly steel trigger box, or if you're just replacing the original WE M4 components as yours has worn out. Okay, so here is the original WE one. The reason mine is out is because I have an uprated steel Re-asembly steel trigger box in there. Okay, so first thing you're going to want to do is take apart the upper receiver from the lower receiver. Do that by removing this pin here and this pin here. Yours might be quite stiff. Mine is actually quite loose, so I can just poke them out. If yours is quite stiff, then you may want to tap them out with a punch or something, okay? But I'm just gonna remove mine here like so. Okay, mine just literally pop out like that. And my upper receiver and lower receiver will just come apart like so. Put your upper receiver to one side. Okay, the next thing you're going to want to do is inside the pistol grip there, it's probably too dark so you guys can't see, inside the pistol grip there is a Phillips screw. Remove that with a long Phillips screwdriver. Do that now. Okay, once you have removed that screw, keep that, put that to one side, keep that safe. Be wary of this grip as it may spring off as it is under spring load, okay? Carefully turn this over if you haven't already, and take note of this side here. Now there's a little spring here, okay, and that's holding a pin here, okay, which goes into the selector. Remove this very slowly, making sure it doesn't spring off anywhere, okay? Put that to one side. My spring's actually inside there pretty tight, so I don't have to worry about that. You guys need to be sure that your one doesn't spring off, okay? Put your grip to one side for now, and keep an eye on this pin here. Can you see that? There is a pin there which goes into the selector, okay? Keep that very safe. You may want to remove yours and keep yours in a safe place. I'm going to take mine out with some needle nose pliers and keep it with my grip so I don't lose it. Okay, the next thing you want to do is, if you haven't already, cock your hammer there, like so. This will allow this to come out freely, okay? Just turn your selector to about this position here, and it should just be able to come out smoothly, like so. Okay, I'm pulling and turning it, and eventually it should just pop out, okay? Once you get the orientation correct, like so. Put that to one side and keep that safe. Okay, and the next thing you want to do is take out this, if you have the receiver like this, turn it up this way and you can see a screw there. Use a good snug fitting Phillips screwdriver to remove that, and try not to strip the head or anything, okay? Usually comes out without any trouble, but if you use an incorrect fitting screwdriver, you may damage it, which will just ruin it basically, okay? Once you have loosened that and brought that out, keep that somewhere safe. And the last thing you want to do is you want to remove this pin here, okay? At the moment, the only thing holding your trigger box inside your lower receiver is this pin here, okay? It should have released all tension by now. Okay, one thing you guys need to know is this receiver, this pin here, which holds the trigger box in, is a one-way pin, meaning it is round and straight, but on one side there are teeth, okay? That is for the teeth to bite onto the receiver to hold it in place nice and tightly when you've installed it. It's important to know that when you bring the pin out, you need to know which side the teeth are on. I know for a fact on my receiver, the teeth are on this side, so I need to tap it out from the other side so the teeth come out first. That way the teeth don't have to go through all the parts and the other side of the receiver, which would just be incorrect, okay? I don't know if it's possible to install these the other way around, having the teeth on the other side, so just in case, what you guys need to do is tap this out a little bit first, have a look at and to see if you can find the biting teeth. If you have and they've come out first, then that's correct, okay? So I'm gonna just tap this out. So what I need to do, I know the teeth are on this side, so what I need to do is turn my receiver over and tap it out from this side, okay? I'm gonna do that for you guys now. Okay, so I've just tapped it in halfway through, well, a quarter of the way through, and I'm gonna turn it over now and have a look here. As you can see, there are teeth on this side, meaning it's correct because the teeth have come out first. If you try and tap it in the other way to try and bring it out, it's going to be really difficult, almost impossible. Okay. If you're also, I believe if your pin is really loose in your receiver, it may be because it has been installed backwards, but I'm not too sure. That's I'm using my own receiver as an example, so obviously every receiver may be different. Okay, so once you've tapped that out, making sure the teeth have come out first, just bring that pin out and keep that safe, okay? Okay, once you've done that, the trigger box should just rock out, I believe. Let me see, like that. There we go. Yep, it's just come out. Right, now when you pull this out, be very careful because on this side there is a spring and this part here which is under tension. Okay, you do not want to lose that. That will just spring off and then you're going to have to get a replacement spring if you lose that. Okay, so keep that safe, whatever you do with it. Right, and that's basically the trigger box removed. Okay. Okay, now comes the part of actually installing replacing the parts that you wish to replace. Okay, for those of you that have the actual Re-tech complete trigger box, you can install that now in reverse order to what you just saw. But for those of you that don't have the Re-tech trigger box and are just upgrading the internal parts of the trigger box, such as the hammer or whatever, then you can follow this part here, okay? I'm going to disassemble this for you guys. Now the first thing you want to do is look after that spring there, okay? This will spring off and you will lose it, okay? Remove this spring very carefully and keep that safe. I cannot stress this enough. Okay, right, then you want to take this part out and keep that safe. Also, I've got some sellotape on mine just to keep the pins and everything in. I'm just going to remove that and then show you guys. Okay, so as you can see, your hammer should be cocked there, as we cocked that earlier prior to taking it out. What you want to do now is just release the hammer using the trigger, and this part here will flip forward, okay? Now, if you just turn it forward again, it will keep spinning, like so. Now, there is a pin there which holds it in, okay? Make sure there's no tension on the top there, on the spring, okay? It's just hanging loose. Then you want to just remove that pin like so. Okay, yours might be quite tough, like mine. Mine just comes out and I'll pull it out there. Slowly, nice and slowly, making sure you don't, when it comes out, it doesn't spring off. I'm just going to hold it in like so, like that. Okay, place that retention pin to one side, and these two components should just come out. Don't worry about losing its position. I'll tell you exactly how it goes in a minute. Okay, so if you, I don't know if you'll be replacing this. I don't even know if there are replacement parts for this, but if you are, put that to one side. Okay, next off is the hammer. I'm going to remove the hammer by removing the hammer's retention pin, which is that one there. Okay, you can punch that out. I'm just gonna quickly show you guys using my needle nose pliers. It might be quite stiff in there, okay, so you may want to just tap it out. Now when you pull this out, make sure you are holding the top so it doesn't fly off, okay? It's under a little bit of tension, but nothing drastic, like so, and this should just come out like so, okay? Note how it's installed on there, okay? The hammer is literally pulling on, the spring is literally holding on the back of the hammer, okay? And it's held on by this, looks like brass piece there, okay? That goes all the way to the back like so. Place your hammer and hammer spring to one side. And the next thing all you'll be left with is this part here, okay? Okay, the next thing we're going to do is remove the actual trigger, and it's held in by one retention pin, which is there. Okay, you can tap that out using some tools. I'm just going to, as usual, poke mine out and pull it out with my needle nose pliers, and keep everything in there safely without letting it spring out by placing my two fingers in the top there. Okay, so I'm going to very slowly pull this out, like so. Place that retention pin there, and then slowly, very slowly, push all the components up using the trigger. Okay, all right, and it should just come out like so. Okay, this next part only applies to people who wish to replace the valve striker or the valve knocker or whatever, that part there, the firing pin. Okay, some people like to upgrade that part to maybe a steel part, so this is how you do that. There are two screws on top here. Using a small headed Phillips screwdriver, undo those, that one there and that one there. Okay, do that now. The next thing you want to do is use a needle nose pliers and very slowly just pull up this part here, keeping your thumb here so nothing can spring out. Everything is under spring tension here. It's going to try and go that way. Okay, I'm keeping my thumb here to keep that from happening. Okay, like so. I'm just going to push this pin here down to keep everything down, and then I can just rock this left and right and pull it up, and it should come up like so. Once you've done that, then you just release your thumb very slowly, relieve the spring tension, and this part should just come out like so. Okay, if you look in there, there's a long spring and a mini spring guide in there. Okay, that's just loose. You can keep that safe, make sure that doesn't spring off. You're gonna need to reuse that. But this part here can be upgraded. Normally they do a nice one which is in silver, if you have purchased one. Okay, so usually these come, this part here just comes as a whole piece. Okay, I believe you get these two parts. I haven't taken it apart before, but I believe if you need to take this part, it is literally that pin there, but I'm not going to do this with mine. Okay, as I don't need to, I'm going to just reinstall it now. Okay, by reinstalling it, it's usually not too much hassle. You just put everything back together like so. Just going to place that, if I take the spring out with this miniature spring guide there. Okay, I'm going to rest it on like that. There, just like that, and then I'm gonna slowly guide it in there at an angle. Okay, making sure I do not squish the spring, and I do not stab or cut into it. Okay, I'm just gonna slowly guide it down like that. Once that's down, you can reinstall everything. Okay, this will not go back on top unless this is in its place, which is there. Okay, there's actually a very shallow recess on either side, which is for this part here. Okay, it's a little bit fidgety, but don't worry, have some patience and you'll be able to get that back on. But you just need to get this plate back on and put those two screws back on there. That's how you place the that part there, if you have it. Okay, so once you've got all your parts out like me, the next thing you're going to want to do is either clean this up or replace it with your new component parts, which you are going to replace with steel parts or maybe even the original WE ones. Okay, right, so there's a little tension spring thingy that goes there like that. Keep that safe. And on the other side, there is the same kind of spring. Take that off and keep that safe. Next, you're going to want to put your finger there, clamp that down. Okay, see it's on spring tension. That's because there's a spring underneath that part. Push that down slightly and just push out this what looks like brass tubing. Okay, put that to one side, and this very slowly release, and you can see there is a spring in there. Okay, replace these parts now, or clean them up, or do what you're going to do with them, and we're just going to put them back together. Okay, so when you're reassembling everything, you're going to want to put this part here like so, with the spring there, okay, on top of your trigger like this, just like that, just as we took it out. Make sure it's all clean. Yeah, it's all clean. Okay, right, put it in like so. Next, I'm going to place this brass tubing in like so. Just make sure I get it in right. Check for spring function. Yep, that's working correctly. And then place this one of your springs on. Okay, it goes on like this. Okay, there's a longer leg. The longer leg sits on there like that. Okay, just like that. Okay, hold that on there with your fingers, turn it over, and place this the other spring on too. Okay, remember the longer leg goes over that retention part there, and the shorter one at the back. Okay, hold that all in place like so. hold your trigger box in which orientation? This orientation, like that, and just slide this on, okay, making sure that you keep everything goes in smoothly, okay. You don't want to release tension when you put it in, like that. Okay, nice and smoothly, nice and slowly, and that should just go on like that. Okay. Oh, nope. And try that again. One flipped to the back. Okay, right. Let's try that again. Right, put it on like so. I'm going to do it this way just to keep everything straight. Okay, like that. Is it going to go in? Oh. Yes, okay, right. Now it's going to fight you to try and get back in, but what you want to do is make sure those two leg prongs are inside, they're not sticking out. Okay, see how mine has come out? Fidget around with yours just to get it aligned correctly, so the two pronged legs there go up and in there rather than stick out. Okay, doing that while you align the brass up with this retention pin. Okay, once that's lined up, stick the retention pin in there. Okay, so do that now. Okay, 3 hours later, when I've actually managed to get this all aligned correctly, if you look very closely, I'm just going to show you there. The two pins are actually here. Okay, they're resting perfectly where they should be. They're not sticking out or protruding. I've managed to get the brass lined up with the hole, and I've pushed the pin halfway through. Okay, once you've done that, then you know, all the fidgety parts are mainly done. You just push this pin all the way through, make sure it seats correctly. Okay. Oh, one thing I didn't mention just a minute ago is if you wanna apply lube, I normally apply lubrication by a paintbrush with some molybdenum disulfide on parts like this, but you could do that now if you like. It's easier to get to. You know, it doesn't have to be a crazy amount of lube. Just make sure there is some lubrication in there just to keep things working smoothly. Okay. Next up is the actual hammer. Now this is how the hammer works. If your spring has come out, then don't worry, I'll show you exactly how it should be. Your hammer is basically this part here. This is the original WE part. Okay, so it's made from just some very soft pot metal. If you hold your hammer in that orientation and take your hammer spring like this, okay, all you do is place it in like so. So it's like that, okay, just slots in like that. Once you've done that, then you just push this brass retention piece in like so, and that's exactly how your hammer should sit, okay, like so. Next, you're going to want to put this hammer, okay, in its parts. Now, I normally put them just like that without even thinking about it. I just hold it in that position. Place these two legs so you don't poke them in, but they rest on top of all the other parts there. Okay, you'll be able to see when you look in there. There'll be a brass tubing. Just make sure you keep that on top of it. Okay, these two prongs go on top of it. Okay, so do that now. Okay, so I'll try and do this on camera. It's going to be very difficult. I'm going to put this down like so, so that the two prongs just rest on top of the trigger pin there, or the brass bar. And then if I push this down this way, you can see it starting to appear here. Okay, now that's not aligned. Okay, it's not. It's in the height is correct, but it's not aligned. So what I'm going to do is just using my middle finger on this side, hold the trigger pin in so it can't flip out, and then pull the trigger ever so slightly like so, and try and get it aligned. Okay, it's going to be quite difficult at first, but it will go. There we go, almost there, just a little bit more. There we go. Now once you get that, either do this with one hand or get someone to push the pin in for you. Okay, it's quite fidgety. I'm going to have to do it off camera, okay, because I can't do it with the camera in the way, but you get the picture. Okay, so make sure you do not let that pin come out. The pin the trigger retention pin, which is that one there, holding it together like that, just like that. Okay, pull this with your thumb and then push this down and let it all align up like so. Okay, do that and put the pin in somehow. Okay, so once you've managed to do that and got that pin in, turn it over, as it's usually misaligned on this side. If it is, just fiddle around with it like so, making sure you can align it up and then push it through. Okay, once you've done that and it's properly seated, then you can move on to the final part there. Okay, now for one of the more confusing parts of upgrading your trigger box. Okay, this can be confusing because the spring and its orientation sometimes confuses people, and this part here. Okay, right, take your WE-M4 box and place it on top, just like that. Okay, I'm just resting it on its own trigger like so, where the firing pin is facing down and this rear screw retention hole is facing up. Okay, next you want to take this spring and just hold it in this orientation like so. So the longer part is on the bottom and the right, and the shorter part is on the top and the left. Okay, like so. Next you want to take this part here and just hold it like this. Okay, so you've got the thinner long part facing up and the wider short part facing down, just like I have here. Okay, once you're holding it like that, place the spring on here like so, and this is how it goes inside the trigger box. Okay, so you've got the trigger box here like so. All you do is, now that this is in this position like this, okay, I'll give you a better look like that. Okay, all you do is re-slot this back in and put the retention pin back in like so. Okay, so do that now. Okay, once you've done that, if you've installed it correctly and you look inside here, you should be able to see the spring's longer leg on the right hand side here. There, can you see mine? And it just kind of flops around. Okay, there's nothing wrong with it. That is installed correctly. What you do now is turn this. Okay, get your finger and just roll that part there. There should be a little bit of tension there. Put your finger there and push that part forward. Okay, that'll keep trying to go back, so before it goes back, push it forward and just cock your hammer. Okay, and if you leave it there, it should hold in place like so, and that's almost complete. Now what you do is you replace this part here, which you kept safe earlier, I hope. Put it there like so. It just goes in, and you want to slowly and very, very carefully, I hate these springs, reinsert it in there. Okay, it's going to try and fly off, so I'm going to put my thumb there and just very slowly push that down, put it inside, and put my thumb over it before it can go anywhere. Okay, now you want to be careful because it's going to try and come out at every opportunity. So now it's time to reinstall the trigger box into the lower receiver. Okay, now that we're going to reinstall the trigger box into the lower receiver, one thing you need to note is if you release tension on this part here, sometimes it will jump out slightly there. I just did it there to let you see. It is now protruding. Okay, I don't like inserting my my trigger boxes when that's happening, because that can, I don't know if it may conflict with anything, but I just don't like it. It needs to be flush in my opinion. So if that has happened, keep your thumb on the spring and on this part here so it doesn't spring out. I'm just going to push it up slightly. There we go, so it has more room to go back in and engage. Right, now that that is flush inside the box, I'm going to keep everything very secure and safe, making sure the hammer is cocked and this part here is on tension. Should be like that, but not being able to go back. And then all you do is hold your lower receiver like so, pull this pin out, make sure it's clear, nothing is in the way, and then you just slide it back in. Okay, like so. Gently rock it in, make sure it's past that silver part there. There we go, and it's flush together. Okay, right, now that that's in there, first thing I'm going to want to install is the trigger box retention pin. Okay, once again, this pin only goes in one way. Mine happens to insert in this way with the biting teeth on this side. That way it is actually tight once it's installed. On my receiver, I don't know if this is the same with all the others. If I install this pin the other way round, meaning coming from the other side with the teeth facing that direction, then it was just too loose. Okay, I could literally slide it in and pull it out with my fingers. But if I install it on this side, okay, on my particular receiver, it's installed correctly, and once I tap that part in and it's flush, it becomes very tight and holds everything in snugly and nice and tightly. Okay, your receiver may be slightly different, but if not, you know, it's good to follow the way I've done it. I believe this is the way it should go in. Right, okay, once you've done that, if I'm going too fast, you can pause the video, and then I'm just going to install this trigger box retention screw. Goes in that hole there, as I'm sure you guys know. Okay, it just goes in that hole there. Do that now. You don't need to pause the video, I'm going to do that with you guys. Here we go. Make sure this is a very good fitting screwdriver, otherwise you risk damaging the head, like I said earlier. And there we go. Okay, right, with the hammer steel cocked in this position, it's now time to reinstall the fire selector, which I'm going to do. This always gets me. Right, I'm just going to put my finger here and pull this out so that it has a clear runway. Okay, a clear hole to go through. Just going to put that in like so. Turning around if I feel any resistance, turning around, there we go, it's all installed. Then I'm going to release that and it should be fine. Okay, now don't worry if you don't hear the click or anything when you select, it's because the clicker retention pin has not been installed yet. Okay, so now we're going to reinstall the grip. I think that's everything on this side. Yep, that should be everything. Okay, so the fire selector pin, which is this part here, goes in with the small part here facing up. Okay, so if you have your receiver down like mine, I'm just gonna put it torpedo head first, like so, and it should just rest on top like that. Okay, next, get your grip and make sure you have the make sure your spring is attached. Okay, install the grip very slowly, making sure that your fire selector pin engages the spring in the correct orientation, otherwise you will bend and damage it. Okay, right, once you've done that, push it down and hold it tight with your hands. It shouldn't take too much energy. And then looking inside there is the final screw that you need to install, which is a Phillips screw. Okay, use your Phillips screwdriver and install that now. Okay, once you have tightened up the screw inside the pistol grip, check that it's not loose, everything is, you know, it's not wobbly, secured and everything. Okay, now I'm going to check my fire selector. Yep, very good. I can hear some very nice clicks. So that pin's doing its job, brilliant. Okay, now I'm going to check for function. Brilliant. Okay, so now that's it. Basically, you have your uprated trigger box. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope this helped you. We're going to be talking about replacing the trigger and its component. Fuck. I'm going to start taking this apart. There's some sellotape on mine. Oh, shit! The spray! This has got to be the world's smallest BB grenade launcher. Just look at the size of it. Whoops. Pew pew.